Okay, due to your busy schedule, I opted to prepare a presentation just to let you know what's been learned with regards to um, the web services with WinDev. This is going to be in WinDev 22, and it's the REST service. So, but what you can see right now, this is just, of course, WinDev version 20. And all I have right now, this is on TCS test, and it's just a page to tap into the web service that I've created, and just show you how it works. So you can see right now, this one, I'm using HTTP GET, of course application JSON, and right now you can see for the URL, I'm putting out the full URL plus, and the resource plus the value that I'm wanting to search for. So in the complete URL, I'm passing the value I want to look for in the URL itself and using HTTP GET. So the two options that I have, you can see with the regards to the web services, you can pass parameters in via the URL, or you can pass in your parameters through the request. Okay, the downside, if you see it that way, is if you're passing data via the request, it has to be a post or a put method. It can't be a get method. It has to be post or put. But let me show you the differences, and then you have to use different syntax to reference it either way. So let me just show you the different ways of doing that. So this one right now, I'm using HTTP GET, and I'm passing everything in the URL, and then of course this is just going to run. It's going to make the request, and then it's going to just spit it out for me. Okay, so if I run this code, if I search for value 1, I get the red bouncy ball. If I search for value 2, I get the blue one, and of course if I search for any value other than that, I get one not found. So all that works fine. Everything works good, looks good. But if I change this to HTTP post and run it, so I run my code, I do search for 1, it found the ball. Search for 2. Okay, it's my bad. I can search for those either way, but if I take this out, so that now I'm just passing in the URL with the resource, and now I'm trying to use content. So I'm saying bouncy ball content ID equals whatever in my edit control. Even though this says post, it's not going to work because I have to go change the web service itself. So if I leave that as post, but right now you can see we're trying to use the content as a buffer. So if I run it with post, and I do 1, then it doesn't work. If I do search for 2, it doesn't work. So it just doesn't work. Even if I change this to HTTP GET, it doesn't work. Okay, so the web service is not working, right? Say it's not doing anything. So what we can do is, if we want to do it this way, if we want to use that content, I'm gonna have to go change the web service. So let's go do that right now. We'll launch WinDev or WebDev 22, and this code here that's commented out, I'm going to uncomment it. And this is going to allow me to basically take that content and all the parameters I put in that content, dump them into a variant we're going to call v parameters here, and then I can access them from there. So when we were using passing everything in via the URL, we were using this web service parameter. We're searching for that value, that ID value, in the URL. So we were using web service parameter ID. Now that we can use what we store in the content, we'll use the v parameters, and then we'll use ID. So changing this code with the web service, then we can now make use of that, whatever we dump into to the content buffer. But whereas when we passed everything in the URL, we could use HTTP post or HTTP get. Now we can only use HTTP post. So you'll see that in a minute. So let me go ahead and regenerate this web service. Alright, so now that's done. We have a new compiled web service out there. Let's go back to WinDev. So you can see I've got HTTP get here, and I'm only passing in the URL, the base URL, and the resource. And then I'm trying to put my search value into the ID parameter on the variant here for the content. Okay, so let's see if that runs. We'll search for number 1, and don't get a good result. Search for number 2, we don't get a good result. Okay, but if we change this to HTTP post, run it again, we search for number 1, we get our results. So we found bouncy ball number 1. If we search for number 2, then you can see so everything's working again. All right. So the recap is, bottom line is, if we make use of this content, the content buffer. So if we want to make use of this right here, to where we pass in multiple parameters with their values, and we want to build our request this way, it has to be an HTTP post. It cannot be an HTTP get. If we want to use HTTP get, then we have to pass our parameters in via the URL. So the URL itself, has to be built with the with the values in there, and then we can extract them from code. So depends on whether you just you just really want to be able to use HTTP get, or if you're willing to use HTTP post basically for gets and post. It's just a personal call there. So anyway, that's really about it. If you have any questions after all this, in case I made any sense or no sense, just let me know. All right, thanks.